The WWE Universe has just witnessed one of the most mind-blowing betrayals in recent memory, a twist that has taken the Bloodline Civil War from a boiling point to a full-on nuclear meltdown. Paul Heyman, the once untouchable puppet master behind WWE's most dominant faction, stood on the ramp in complete disbelief as everything he built crumbled right in front of his eyes. The moment Jimmy USO, yes, Jimmy USO, turned his back on his own blood, Solo Sikoa, and align himself with the most dangerous new force in WWE, Jacob Fatu, it wasn't just a betrayal, it was a declaration of war. No one could have predicted that one of the Bloodline's most loyal soldiers would switch sides in such a shocking and brutal fashion, but that's exactly what happened. Jimmy's decision to team up with Fatu didn't just break trust, it tore the very fabric of the Bloodline apart, possibly beyond repair. As the SmackDown arena roared with confusion and shock, the implications became clear. Paul Heyman, now aligned with his own new faction, Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, and Bronson Reed, watched the chaos unfold, whispering urgently to his allies, clearly shaken, clearly rattled. This wasn't part of his plan. Everything has changed. The moment Jacob Fatu's theme music dropped, the crowd exploded with energy, expecting carnage, but what came next took everyone's breath away. As the towering Samoan beast walked through the curtain, he was flanked by none other than Jimmy USO, who emerged beside him with a look on his face that told you everything you needed to know. There was no hesitation. There was no confusion. Jimmy had made his choice, and it wasn't just a temporary alliance, it was a complete, cold-blooded betrayal. The cheers quickly turned to silence as fans realized what was happening. The tension in the building was like a storm ready to burst. Jimmy and Jacob made their way to the ring like two predators circling their prey. Solo Sikoa, Jimmy's own flesh and blood, stood in the ring, visibly stunned. He didn't move. He didn't speak. His eyes searched for understanding, but he received none. Jimmy looked him dead in the eye, lifted his fist high in allegiance to Jacob Fatu, and uttered the words that cut deeper than any chair shot or spear could ever do. "You're dead to me." Then came the superkick, fast, vicious, and unforgiving, knocking Solo to the canvas. Jacob Fatu followed up with sheer brutality, lifting Jeff Cobb like a ragdoll and delivering a monstrous Samoan drop that left the ring shaking and the crowd gasping. And all the while, Paul Heyman watched, his expression a mix of horror, fury, and disbelief. He turned back to Rollins, Breaker, and Reed, his voice urgent, his face pale, whispering through clenched teeth, "This changes everything." And he wasn't wrong. In one night, the Bloodline went from a fractured dynasty to a battlefield soaked in betrayal and revenge. Jimmy USO's defection isn't just another twist in a storyline. It's a seismic shift that has real consequences for every major player in WWE right now. The new alliance of Jimmy and Fatu signals the rise of a more vicious, more primal, and more unpredictable version of the Bloodline, one that answers to no legacy, no tradition, only chaos and power. Meanwhile, Solo Sikoa, the enforcer once groomed to carry the family legacy forward, is now a target.
Betrayed.
Outnumbered. Left to regroup with Jeff Cobb, who himself was blindsided in the carnage. The bond that once held this family together is now shattered into dust. But the war doesn't stop there. Paul Heyman's new faction looms over everything like a storm on the horizon. Seth Rollins, who currently holds the Money in the Bank briefcase, is a ticking time bomb. He's smart, strategic, and always looking for the perfect moment to strike. Braun Breaker is a powerhouse in his own right, young and hungry to prove himself by tearing down whatever's left of the Bloodline. Bronson Reed is a monster waiting to be unleashed. These three, under Heyman's twisted guidance, are quietly watching from the shadows, biding their time as chaos unfolds. Are they waiting for the new Bloodline to collapse from within before swooping in for the kill? Or are they preparing to make the first move and declare war on both factions? And hovering above all of this is the most terrifying question of them all. What happens when Roman Reigns returns? The tribal chief, the original architect of the Bloodline, the man who built this empire with his bare hands, has been silent for weeks. But silence is not surrender. If and when Roman comes back, he will not return to forgive or fix. He will return to burn everything down. The betrayal by Jimmy, the chaos unleashed by Jacob Fatu, the shifting loyalties and rising threats, it all leads to one unavoidable conclusion. WWE is standing on the edge of complete and total warfare. No one is safe. No title is secure. No alliance is guaranteed. Jimmy Uso's decision has redrawn the entire map of WWE's power structure, and now every superstar is scrambling to find their place before the storm reaches full force. Solo Sikoa and Jeff Cobb may be down, but don't count them out. Heyman's faction may be calculated and cunning, but they've yet to be truly tested in open war. The new bloodline may be fierce, but internal loyalty could crack under the weight of ambition. And Roman Reigns? If he returns to clean house, there will be no safe zone. There will be no survivors. The battle lines have been drawn. The countdown to all-out war has begun. This is not just entertainment. This is not just a new chapter. This is WWE rewritten, reshaped, and reignited by betrayal, vengeance, and raw power. If you thought things were wild before, you haven't seen anything yet. Now is the time to lock in. Smash that subscribe button, turn on your notifications, and let your voice be heard in the comments.
Who do you stand with?
Jimmy and Fatu's new bloodline? Solo and Cobb's path of redemption? Heyman's faction of destruction? Or are you holding your breath for the return of the tribal chief to end it all once and for all? One thing's for sure, war is here, and only one side will survive. Let me know if you'd like me to adapt this version into a YouTube voiceover script or a shorter teaser for social media. Paul Heyman has completely lost control, and the WWE Universe just witnessed a moment that could change the course of wrestling history forever. In a shocking betrayal that no one saw coming, Jimmy Uso has officially turned his back on Solo Sikoa and aligned himself with none other than the unstoppable Samoan wrecking machine, Jacob Fatu. This isn't just another twist in the saga. This is a full-scale eruption. The Bloodline Civil War has escalated to nuclear levels, and the fallout is only just beginning. What's even more shocking is that Paul Heyman, once the strategic mastermind behind the Bloodline's dominance, was left standing in absolute disbelief as he watched the chaos unfold before his eyes. Heyman, who has recently been aligning himself with a powerful new faction, featuring Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, and Bronson Reed, is now forced to reassess his entire game plan. As Heyman stood frozen at the top of the ramp, eyes wide, mouth hanging open, fans could feel the shift in the air. His new faction, deadly and calculating, remained silent but alert, watching every move and waiting for their moment to strike. The WWE Universe is still in shock, still processing what they saw on SmackDown, because this wasn't just betrayal, this was war declared. Jimmy Uso, who once swore loyalty to the Bloodline, made his intentions clear.